Black girl from Brick City. We know watch for the mental.
Woo! Episode 1. Welcome, everyone. My name is Ace. If you do not know, I am a singer-songwriter from Brick City, which is Newark, New Jersey. And this is my podcast, Black Girl from Brick City. That song that you actually will hear in the beginning of my podcast is my song, Black Girl from Brick City. It is unreleased, but I'll release it soon. Y'all get it. Welcome to my podcast. It has always been literally a long-term goal of mine to have a podcast and to just dive into some topics that I've learned along my life, along the way, about music. I've become really passionate about real estate and about making money and just all types of things that I just knew I would be able to share with the masses if I was able to get a platform such as a podcast. My Instagram platform, I usually just keep it to music. But, I would love a podcast where I could just talk and give my feedback and have other people give feedback and just have some topics so we could just learn from each other. So welcome to Black Girl from Brick City. This is my first episode, and I'm just going to dive right into the topic of today. The topic that I wanted to bring up for my first episode is called Breaking Generational Curses. So yeah, we getting real deep real fast, only because this is a topic that I feel like I have struggled with for so many years, and I just know that a lot of people don't really understand a generational curse and the process and the work, the self-work, the self-healing that you have to do in order to even begin to break those curses. So welcome to my first episode. I'm going to try to not curse this entire episode so that it is family friendly. If you do know me personally, I do curse like a sailor. Blame where I'm from, blame parents, whatever, blame anybody else. I blame myself. I curse like a sailor. But we're going to keep it cute, cordial, and we're really going to dive into this topic because I feel as though someone needs to hear that they are not alone when fighting generational curses, that they will be able to do anything that they put their mind to. And sometimes we just want to hear some encouraging words of wisdom. And we also, sometimes we want to hear just a story of how someone else did it. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce what a generational curse actually is. So when I Googled it, I know the term generational curse, y'all, from church. If you are a Christian, if you're spiritual, no matter what way of walk of life or religion you're in, I learned the definition through church. And basically, in the Bible, whenever a father would sin, it would always go down to the generations after. I'm talking about children's children would be penalized for the mistakes of their father. And how many of us feel as though we are being punished for the mistakes of people before us? If you find yourself dealing with a lot of the things that your parents didn't necessarily thoroughly deal with, that would underline as a generational curse. That's one way to identify them. When you actually go on Google and you search generational curses, you don't really find anything like an actual Webster dictionary meaning definition. But I found this book called 7 Signs of a Family Curse, and the author is Jonas A. Clark. And he identifies it as family curses that are reoccurring problems. So for this episode, let's just stick to the definition that this is a reoccurring problem throughout your family's generation. I'm going to be talking about 3 ways to identify that you're going through a generational curse, because these are ways that I identified my curse. And then I'm going to also talk about 3 ways that you can work to overcome these things, because these are things that are not impossible. They're extremely hard, but they're not impossible. Number 1, you've witnessed your parents go through the same thing that you find yourself currently going through. if this is a topic or an addiction or a problem that you have witnessed people in your family struggle with, a lot of your elders in your family struggling with, and then you just so happen to struggle with the same thing, this may be something that's generational that you would have to go against and break. For example, in my family, we're Caribbean, Haitian, so it's a lot of aggression. It's not meant to be, taken as offensive. It's not meant, our elders didn't mean for it to be, I'm trying to find the nicest way to say these things. Because if you Haitian, you just know everything is very aggressive, blunt. They just have their way of things. So for me, that aggression really resonated with me for a long time. And I was a very angry woman because I've witnessed my mom do it. I've witnessed elders in my family curse people out and just be very aggressive. Not assertive, aggressive. So I found myself battling the same thing that I didn't like being done to me in my family. So when I noticed that, hey, okay, so this is not just an anger issue within myself. This is an anger issue within my family. And this is going to be something that's going to be hard for me to break. So if you witness yourself having qualities that you say to yourself, I would never do that as a parent, and then you find yourself doing it, it's okay. Some things are just generational. Some things, they weren't dealt with from the people that came before you. So you're going to have to deal with that. And it's not always the easiest to unlearn these things. But if you witness someone else already going through it, maybe that should be your motivation. Like, hey, okay, I'm going to be different. I'm going to be better. So if that's something that if you just sit and think and you're like, okay, here's the quality that I know was passed down to me. Maybe you didn't necessarily want it, but it's there. That may be a problem that is way beyond you, and you're gonna have to fight some battles. Number 2, if this is always a touchy subject in your family when you bring it up, and when it's addressed, it always turns into hostility or chaos. This may be something that has been in your family for a long time, and it's going to be hard to break away. For an example, a lot of families, predominantly African American families, they don't teach financial freedom. Okay? So maybe financial freedom is a problem that has been in your family for a minute. A lot of people just don't know how to make money, or they make money, they just don't know how to keep it. Or, a lot of people will get jealous of the family members who go to different money heights and get new amounts of monies. They'll get jealous. It's a lot of things around money that may be a curse as well. For me, I feel as though my family, we didn't struggle, but we weren't rich either. We had to get 9-to-5s. We weren't taught, hey, you can start your own business. Hey, you can do this. We just didn't know. So you being that breadwinner in your family will be you going against that generational curse. And trust and believe, when you do try to go against these things, you will stick out like a sore thumb, okay? But it's okay, because number 3, the way that you can identify that this is a generational curse, you feel isolated when dealing with this thing, almost as if it's you against everyone else, okay? So these 2 topics that I brought, personal topics about the anger that I experienced growing up, that was something that made me feel really isolated when I started being very mindful of my words. So, a lot of people started calling me, oh, you being so sensitive, Ashley. Like, I can't mess with you. You being too sensitive. It wasn't that I was becoming too sensitive, okay? It was that I was becoming mindful of what people were saying to me. I was becoming more mindful of how people were talking to me, treating me, talking about me. And yes, maybe that does make me sensitive, because I'm becoming more aware, okay? And when you become more aware, you may feel very isolated, because just because you're feeling aware and just because you've started this journey, going against the status quo of your family or whatever, you will be on your own sometimes, unless people are on that same journey with you. Unless you got a cousin or your mom, you guys both want to be aware together. But if not, people are going to stay the same way they are. And you're going to be the one that's all woke and trying to change. And people are going to look at you like you crazy. But it's okay. Because when you feel isolated, that just means you're doing something right. You're standing out. Okay, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, but what I would like for you to know is that you don't always have to feel as though you're doing everything on your own. And that's I'm going to go into my next point. The next point is how to work on overcoming these actual generational curses. Okay, so we already identified that you can tell yourself, okay, maybe I am going through something that's bigger than me. If one, you've witnessed your parents go through it or elders in your family, yes, that may be bigger than you. They're dealing with it too, and they're older, right? Number two, if it's a touchy subject, that every time you address it to someone, it's always hostility. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear, stop talking to me like that, because this is how they talk. So yes, that will be something that's bigger than you, because every time you bring it up, it's never addressed in a calm way. It's never addressed in a reasonable way. If it's always a big blow up, that is something that is hindering, okay? So you can identify that is bigger than you by that. And then number three, you can identify it if you are going through it alone in your family. If you are the only one that's identifying that this is toxic, that this is not how you should be treated. A lot of us have been raised by, toxic parents and toxic ways that we thought were normal. That's not. So when you start going against that, yes, you will feel isolated, but it is okay. Because I am so proud of you for even taking that step to awareness. I am so proud of you for even going against that status quo that is not right and making that change for your future. And that goes into my next point. How to work on overcoming these generational curses. Number one, you must stay positive, okay? There's no handbook for dealing with any trauma. There's no handbook for dealing with what you learned as a child and how to unlearn those as adults. You have to stay positive. And one way that I kept myself grounded when battling a lot of these things is I remained kind to myself. I started saying, hey, Ace, the way that you talk to your friends when they make a mistake or they come to you and they want advice, the kindness and the mindfulness that you show them is the same kindness and mindfulness you need to show yourself. A lot of times when I was younger, I would just beat myself down. Like, I was my worst enemy when it came to just being really hard on myself. I don't know if that's because I am a semi-perfectionist, and that's just from growing up when people would always pinpoint my mistakes. So I made sure growing up, I never made mistakes, or I rarely made mistakes, which made me crazy. Imagine you just every day, you're just trying to be so perfect. And when things don't go right, you're just boom. And maybe that is a generational curse in itself, girl. Maybe a lot of your family, they want to look perfect. They want to act perfect. But behind closed doors, they are not. They are just themselves. And then it always contradicts with their outside. Maybe that's something you're going through. But with me, I definitely was my biggest, hardest, most meanest, cruelest critic. I would be like, girl, you know better than that. Like, this is how I would talk to myself. And it really made everything harder on me because I didn't need someone else making life harder for me. I was doing it for myself. So I made that change. I was like, listen, I'm going to stay positive. I started writing nice letters to myself. I started waking up and doing mirror work and looking in the mirror and saying, Ashley, you're beautiful. Ace, I forgive you. Ace, I love you. I love you because you are beautiful. Like, I started talking to myself like that. And at first, it's going to be very weird, y'all. Especially if you are one of those people that has never really had a good relationship with yourself. Okay, once you make that change, it's going to be weird at first. But I'm telling you, It pays off being positive to yourself. Be kind, be gentle, and treat yourself as if you were treating someone else. Say nice things to yourself, even if you feel as though in your heart you don't deserve it. Because you need to hear that, and you don't need to hear it from anyone else. You need to hear it from yourself so that you know. Self-love. Number 2, stay focused, okay? Listen. Woo! Distractions. Woo! And if you are a Christian, we call it the devil, okay? Delayed, all he wants to do is delay and deny us, okay? Lie, kill, steal, and destroy. But let me tell you something. Distractions come in all forms, all walks of life. You can meet someone and they can distract you off your course, from your generational curse course. You can get a job that is just not aligned with what you want to do, and it will distract you. You have to stay focused, because sometimes the pressure feels relentless, okay? This is this time when you, especially when you want to center yourself, when the goal is to overcome. Oh, you got your mind made up. You like, I'm going to do this. That is when the enemy will really come in. He will sneak in, girl. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know it was a distraction until, boom, it happens. Some ways I stay focused is I start my day with prayer. Like if you don't pray, I would say start your day with meditation. But for me, I pray. That keeps me grounded. That keeps me focused. And another thing that keeps me focused, I think about my future a lot. I think about my future kids who are not even here yet. What kind of mother will I be? What kind of household would I raise? How would I speak to my children when they make mistakes? How would I speak to my husband, my future husband, when he makes a mistake? I think about my future a lot. So a lot of times the work that I'm doing now, the decisions that I'm making now are all for my future self. And that's what keeps me focused. Maybe what keeps you focused is getting some me time, getting away from, social media and just relaxing. Maybe that's what keeps you focused, but you need to find something that keeps you grounded in your course and in your mission to being a better person. This can be anything, but it has to be yours. Maybe you like to journal. I also journal. I write music when I'm feeling really chaotic. I sit down, I listen to my heartbeat. Yes, I do. These are things that help me. Maybe they will help you. I go on YouTube and I look up high frequency instrumentals. And I just let it play. Like some of them are like 2 hours, 3 hours. I just let it play and I just think and I just relax so that I'm focused. Because if you're not focused and you're just all over the place, so emotional, so irate, like you're just always, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I'm not doing this enough. You will drive yourself crazy, girl. Do you want to go crazy? Do you want to go crazy? Because listen, I told myself I don't want to go crazy. So I have to stay positive and I have to stay focused. Now, my last point is number 3, seek knowledge and seek help. Woo! This one here, y'all. Now, this one I personally struggled with, and I'm currently still struggling with in my walk, because it's very hard for me to be vulnerable with people. Sometimes when we isolate ourselves, when we've been so accustomed or we get used to just battling things by ourselves and getting through, we kind of just want to stick like that. And this is not always the best route, girl. If you are like me, if you are hyper independent, if you've gotten yourself through so many things by yourself, and when I say by yourself, I mean you came up with that strategy, you made that sacrifice, you made that change, you went against everybody who was going against you. You fought that battle. It may be hard for you to say, let me go seek knowledge. Let me go seek help from someone. Let me go see a therapist. Let me go talk to someone. It may be hard, but I'm here to tell you it's necessary. I know you feel alone, but you don't have to do it all on your own. Even if you want to research ways that you can go about this generational curse, that you can go about talking better, being a better friend, being a better cousin, being a better wife, being a better person. You can research it on damn YouTube. No cap. Sometimes I go on YouTube, I'm like, how to say things in nice ways or something like that. Just seeking knowledge. I'm always just seeking knowledge, seeking new ways that I did not once know or listen to people who have been through that. One of the ladies that I love to listen to, Ayanna Von Sant. I hope I'm saying her name right, but her name is beautiful. But she is one of my mentors that got me through the worst breakups, girl. When I'm telling you, that's another episode about breakups and how to handle that. But she also has videos on keeping grounded, having a spiritual connection with yourself, healing mother wounds. Like, these are all on YouTube. These are all resources that we can just easily find on our phones, on our iPads. Always seek knowledge and always seek help. Find someone who speaks the language that you understand. Find someone who has been through what you are currently going through or what you want to learn how to get out of. And I feel like those are the 3 things that really will help you get over this generational curse, because they helped me. Staying positive, staying focused, and seeking knowledge, because let's face it, like I said, there is no handbook for this. Most people don't even want to talk about things like this because we all think that we're good, And even if we think we're not good, we're not to the point where, we're going to bring it down to our children. But you never know. If something is bothering you, or if something has been a reoccurring problem for your mother, for your father, for your father's father, for your mother's mother, you never know. You might be the person to keep this ball rolling, and you will not even realize it until you are there. So I want to leave you with this. I'm going to end my podcast with positive affirmations because I think I thoroughly explained, hopefully, this is my first episode, please don't kill me, but I hopefully thoroughly explained what a generational curse is. Again, there is no Webster definition, but I hope I thoroughly explained what it is. 3 ways to identify that you're actually going through that. Okay, because maybe some people don't know that what they're going through is bigger than them. And then lastly, how to work on overcoming it. We're all overcoming it every day. Every single day. We are trying to get better. We are trying to unlearn our toxic habits. And everyone wants to be their best selves. So I really hope you enjoyed that topic. Look at me being vulnerable and using examples. I'm really excited to see if someone learned something or if anything that I've stated today helped. Even if it helped one person, I will be satisfied. That was the main goal of my podcast, to just help at least one person with the things that I have learned. And I know topics like breaking generational curses or things that may trigger us into thinking of not so happy things, things that don't really make us feel good all the time. It's hard to deal with. So I just want to end my podcast with positive affirmations. Positive affirmations, if you're not aware, are just self-worth statements that you are saying to yourself to encourage yourself and to put you in a state of being. So it's not going to say, I will be okay. I am okay. So I have 3 listed here for this topic, and I would like, if you would like just to say it to yourself or repeat after me, that'd be great. And let's stand in ourselves and let's stand firm in who we are, and let's go for anything that we need. The first one is, I am all that I need to be okay and successful. I am all that I need to be okay and successful. I am driven to accomplish my goals. I am driven to accomplish my goals. I forgive myself for the things I did not know and the things I could not control. I forgive myself for the things I did not know and the things I could not control. Okay, so you are, ooh, girl, I see you. Or man, men can watch this too or listen to it too. But look at you, grounded and firm and standing in your confidence. Yes, we love to see it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't have a date yet, which I would love to put these, but I will come up with a schedule as I get more comfortable with this podcast thing. Oh my gosh, woo, first episode done. I'm going to learn how to put some hand claps up in here. Right now, we're going to do the ghetto hand claps. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I am Ace. My real name is Ashley, but everybody calls me Ace. So nice to meet you. Hey, girl. Hey, guy. What's up? And thank you for tuning in. And I hope to see you next time when I put another episode out. Bye.
My skin is black and I die for it. If I gotta go to war, I fight for it. Burn it down to the ground, let it burn up. Seem like I gotta walk with a burner. When I drive, gotta peek through the window. Black girl, gotta watch what I'm into. Black girl, you don't know what I've been through. Dark skin, got 'em feeling so fearful.